important jobs, did them for the most part. On defense, the gloves and arms got the people out from the infield and the outfield. And on offense, the Boston Bats had not been burned or locked up after all. The thump was still heard throughout the league and at Fenway Park. The big power guys could still bring it. The strongest answer to the most persistent question was provided by Carlton Fisk. The early concern was whether he could play again, and catch again, and throw. He did them all behind the plate and at other positions. He appeared in 131 games, a rock on this team, showing his value and his leadership. Fisk spent a black and blue season, taking the shots from toe to head. He absorbed and watched errant pitches. And sometimes wondered why. At the plate, he hit .289 with 18 home runs. But most of the spring offensive was handled by veteran newcomer Tony Perez. After years of stardom in the National League, he came over from free agency to carry the club in the first half. On the field with his RBI bat. Overall, with his professional presence. Perez had 25 home runs and 105 runs batted in, and laid aside all doubts about his acquisition. On the other side of the ball, something just had to be done about the pitching. And from the bullpen, at least, something was done about it by Tom Bergmeyer. The sturdy little veteran, named to the American League All-Star team, was unrelenting in flattening out the opposition with men on base. Got him! Struck him out! And Bergmeyer saves it for Rainey. Bergie kingpinned a good bullpen with 24 saves. The big three of the starting rotation did not fare so well. Mike Torres was 9-16, finished in the bullpen, still pitched the most innings. Dennis Eckersley won 12 games, including a one-hitter, but lost 14 and was hampered by a chronic back condition that kept him sidelined for over 3 weeks. Bob Stanley was only 6-6 as a starter, but after 17 starts, volunteered for the bullpen, where he was sensational. Overall, this starting three had more than its share of trouble. But out of an ordinary spring training and into a last-minute starting job came Chuck Rainey. In his second season with the ball club, the steady right-hander came into his own not a moment too soon. He was the most consistent starter in the first half of the season until a shoulder injury put him out for good after 13 starts. His 8-3 record was tops when he left, and there's cause for optimism about his condition for 1981. Player Representative Steve Renko shook off the strike threat to become first the best long reliever in the early going, then a solid starter. His record 9-9. The most successful southpaw starter in a while, John Tudor, with an 8-5 record and a 3.02 earned run average. Meanwhile, the Dragon, Dick Drago, started in relief, then found relief as a starter of 7 games, giving several strong performances. He found you can go home again. For the second straight season, Jerry Remy got off to a flying start, only to have it aborted again with an injury in July. But up to that injury, he was something, particularly on offense, with base hits from the top of the order on his way to a batting average of .313. Jerry had an impressive array of bunts for sacrifices and singles, and with that Jerry Remy trademark, speed. The Butch Hobson rooters were there again, and the Rocky third baseman responded with his aggressiveness overall, here resulting in a short season for Cleveland's Duane Kuiper. The curiously Hobson-esque imprint on the plays that he made in the field. And at the plate, there were still the times when all Butch had to do was trot. Off the bench came Jimmy Dwyer to have another good year for the Red Sox. He established himself in right field for a while, played in 93 games overall, and hit .285 with 7 game winners and 4 home runs in 1 series in Toronto. The bench was stronger this season and was used more. Dave Rader came over from the Phillies, handled unfamiliar pitchers well, and surprised some folks with his defense. A good clutch hitter, Rader batted .328 in 50 games. Gary Allenson caught and played third, swung a potent .357 bat. Gary Hancock got another chance when injuries hit the outfield and took full advantage with some big hits and some power. Dwight Evans got off to a slow start at the plate and in the field, but was around at the end with 148 games played, 18 home runs, 60 runs batted in. And still had one of the best right field arms and gloves in the American League. A midsummer break at Cooperstown, New York, and the induction of the late Red Sox owner, Thomas Austin Yawkey, to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Mr. Yawkey, who served the game for more than 4 decades, was lauded by Ted Williams as one of the greatest sportsmen and humanitarians in the game's history. In memoriam, a name synonymous with Boston Red Sox baseball. The Red Sox continued to chart their course through the narrows of the season, with some more unusual obstacles thrown up in the form of some outstanding fielding plays by their opponents. Plays like these are the meat of the game to the baseball fan as much as home runs. And the fan got his share in 1980. Lest we forget, though, the course of the game does not always run smooth. There's a wackiness about it that's part of its charm. On any given day, in any given stadium, situations and complications arise in baseball that are strictly from out in left field. But there was no nonsense this year at shortstop. Rick Burleson was out there again, tied for the league lead in hits for a right-handed batter. Burleson was essential as the middleman on relays from the outfield. To the right, and to the left, and to Hellenbach at his position. The man they call the Rooster, one of the game's main men at the hot spot out there at short. Burleson held together several infield combinations, including the new-look second-half infield. Rick was flanked by 21-year-old Glenn Hoffman at third. He won a place on the team in the spring and took a spot on the field at midseason. And by second baseman Dave Stapleton, who became a valid Rookie of the Year candidate. The two kids who helped to effect a subtle change. Another change that brought a different look to the team in the second half of the season was a geographical one for Bob Stanley. From the starting mound to the bullpen in July at his own request. The move turned a one-man bullpen into a deep, effective four-man team. And Stanley, with his mystifying but hardly mysterious funny pitch, flip-flopped his way through August and September to the tune of 4 more wins and 14 strong saves. As with any team in baseball, injuries hurt. Chuck Rainey gone for the season after this pitch. Jerry Remy, the knee again, finally leading to surgery. Jim Rice, beginning slowly, began to move to his groove by June. The compact swing, the home run bat producing in constant tattoo. Rice, on the year, 22 doubles, 6 triples, 24 home runs, 86 runs batted in, which was second on the club despite missing 6 weeks and 36 games.
At the time that the injury occurred, I thought I was just beginning to hit the ball as good as I could possibly hit it. Not only as the old Jim Rice, or maybe the new Jim Rice, I had changed a couple of things around. I was seeing the ball a little bit better, beginning to make solid contact, and next thing you know, my injury happened.
Jim came back from the hand injury, had a strong September, and finished with a .294 average. Fred Lynn came in some 15 pounds lighter this season, which figured to help his base running and defense. It may have taken a homer or two away from him at the plate, but nothing compared to what he took away from enemy hitters while working center field.
Hit hard and deep into left center field. Lynn going back at the track, leaps up and makes the play. What a catch by Fred Lynn. Holy mackerel, unbelievable.
At the plate, Lynn made contact with power. He slapped the bad pitches to left field and pulled the good pitches to right, and was the ideal number 3 hitter. Lynn hit over 300, his 4th such season in the major leagues. Fred missed 50 games, most of them after this toe breaker that ended his season. Carl Yastrzemski got off to one of his worst starts ever at the plate, but picked up beautifully later on to even out at .275 in 105 games. Yaz saw a lot of games from the DH spot. He played a tad at first and some in left field, which eventually turned out to be this season's Achilles heel for him. His old friend, the Wall, turned its back on him in September and sat him down just as the team was trying to get hot. These 3 injuries were not the total disaster, but they helped. The captain had an idea or two of his own after the season.
I think we're a much better ball club than what we showed in 1980. No way do I think that we should have finished as far out. I think that's probably the main reason why I was disappointed about the season. Very optimistic about next year. I think we have a tremendous amount of talent here.
There was the kid at third, Glenn Hoffman. He moved over from AAA shortstop the previous year and made the club in spring training seemingly to sit and learn. The injury situation gave him his chance. And as some scouts and a Yankee coach indicated, we're impressed with your guy at third. Nothing fancy, just gets the job done. At the plate, he did better than most experts expected, except for his manager in AAA, Joe Morgan, who said Glenn Hoffman will hit and get better as the season gets late. He did.
Drive deep to right center field. Well, back is Murphy. Can't get it. It's all the way to the 420 mark. Perez will score. Fisk will score. Into third base goes Glenn Hoffman. It's tied up.
A hit sparking a comeback, but also sparking enthusiasm from fans and teammates alike for the kid at third, Glenn Hoffman. And there was his running mate at second base, Dave Stapleton, the big noise from Alabama. He took over when Jerry Remy was hurt and proved more than capable. Dave showed that he could play hit and run with anybody. He could move runners over at the plate. He could also pull the ball when necessary. He showed, for a rookie, exceptional bat control. Through the season, he was involved in a gang of double plays and improved steadily at his position. Dave Stapleton hit .321 and was the brightest rookie on the block. Along with the promise forecast by the Hoffmans and the Stapletons, there were some other young Turks on display that may augur well. Names like Crawford, Walker, and Valdez and Gedman, and maybe some pitching help from Remmerschwall and McWhorter and Hurst. And there's an older name, the name of an old reliable, the name of the new manager, Ralph Houck, selected in late October. One who has been through it all before, yet comes newly sprung into the Red Sox projection of things to come.
Well, actually, I wouldn't be back in baseball if I didn't think we might have a chance to win. And that's why I'm back. I want to win one more pennant in my career.
So all was not total ruin in 1980 for the Boston Red Sox. Although there were bruises that did not heal easily and scratches that deepened into serious cuts, the team portrait for 1981 need not be the representation of pestilence and famine. Some of the old reliables and some new figures will trot out on the field, and Fenway Park in Boston will still be standing in the spring of '81.